So, Grandma, why don't you tell me about when you actually first, gave birth to Patrick, your first son.
Okay.
Where did you where did it happen? What was the hospital?
That was in Marquette, Michigan. And so I remember when they brought the baby to me, and I said, bring him closer, and I start pulling on his legs and stuff. And he said, what are you doing? And this one gal who, she had been with me with Karen when she was born, and she said, well, I understand why she's doing that is because, Karen was born and she couldn't do that. She wouldn't lift her legs or anything. And Pat lifted his legs and that and started. So I knew he was okay.
So how did you choose the name Patrick?
It was just a name I always liked, Patrick Michael. That was just one of my favorites. It wasn't after anybody, or I just liked the name Patrick Michael.
It's like the ring of the name. That's a good name.
Yeah.
So then growing up, you guys grew up in Marquette
Yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah.
So what was he like when he was a little guy, toddler, 5 years old, that kind of.
Well, he, just like any other boy, he liked to go out and play and not play with the girls. He always said, I hope some boys move in so I can play with, but it seemed that there was always girls,
Yeah.
and he always ended up playing with the girls. And when he stayed at my friend's, and she had all boys when I was gonna have Kelly, and so she had all boys, and he just loved it over there because and he just Maureen said, well, Patrick, you got another baby sister, and he says, oh boy, can I live with you? And so anyway, he came home and he came over to me and he looked at Kelly and he said, I didn't mean it, Mom. This is my baby. I love her.
Oh.
So of course I cried, It was so cute. And from that point on, he would, if Kelly would cry, he'd say, Mom, Kelly's crying. And I said, well, she can wait a minute. So he'd go in there and he'd go, it's okay, Kelly, it's okay. So he just protected her so much, I remember. And really cared a lot for her,
Yeah, and what was he like when Kathy was born? Because that would have been before Kelly, right?
Oh, yeah.
So he would have been pretty little too.
He was pretty little, yeah.
So.
It was just another,
Yeah, that's fair.
But,
And then he got the nickname Peter Joe.
yeah.
How did that come about?
That was just really neat. That was just his nickname
I mean,
from me.
did you call him from when he was like really little, or when
Mhm.
yeah, just started calling him Peter Joe?
Yeah. I'd say, there's my little Peter Joe. It was just a nickname that I liked, and people said, why didn't you just name him Peter Joe? And I said, I didn't like it it's just a nickname to me, and that's what I wanted it to be, so.
So then, when you Paul divorced, how did Pat take that
Well,
from what you remember?
it was it was hard on the kids, but they never did really see him a whole lot anyway, you know. But they did miss him, and he could come over at any time to see the kids, and he just never did.
Yeah.
So
So what about Dad and because you guys sent him to Catholic school, right? When he was young,
when he was young,
and do you remember how he did in school? Or
he did really well in school.
he didn't get in too much trouble, or
No, he didn't get into too much trouble.
no? That's all the stories I've heard. So then, when he got older, and you guys grew up a little bit, and you guys moved to the New Mexico and Arizona. How was what was that like? What do you remember about him during those times? Because he started working, right?
Me?
Well,
Yeah.
well, Pat started working at like the restaurant and stuff. Like,
Oh yeah.
and you remember?
Yeah, he was when he worked at the restaurant, everybody seemed to like him, and everything. And he was a hard worker, and I don't remember a whole lot about that.
Oh, okay. But then you guys eventually moved up to Oregon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he lived with you for a while when he was like going to school and stuff, right?
I did what?
He was living with you
Mhm.
for a while when he was like going back to college and stuff, right?
Yeah, well, first of all, when he first graduated, he wanted to be on his own.
Yeah.
And so he just decided, he wanted to be on his own and everything. But then he became a Christian, and it seemed after that he had changed. And he said, Mom, he said, if it's okay, I'd like to come back home to live, to save some money. And so we said, sure, you can do that, so he did. And so we just used to have long talks and everything.
Yeah.
And it was really, really nice. It was just like, I could talk to him, not as a mom to her son, but just regular talk,
Yeah.
It was really nice, yeah.
Adult to adult.
Yeah.
And then eventually he graduated.
Then he graduated.
Was that a big deal? I mean, had anybody graduated from college in the family before that, or like you had your dad? Did he graduate from college?
No, he died when I was in 8th grade.
I know, but did he graduate from college? Your dad, did he go to college?
No,
No. So had anybody from the family?
no,
No. So Pat was the first one.
really, yeah.
Or had Kelly or Kathy graduated before him?
No, he was the first one.
Oh, okay. So that was probably a big deal.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah. And then he went and he met my mom, Brenda.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the wedding. What do you remember from their wedding?
Well, it was a beautiful wedding. And it just seemed like, if I look at the pictures, he was just overtaken with Brenda, And I remember how they first met was she lived up the street from us when we lived in Beaverton. And we remember that she was running down the hill. She was after her dog. I don't remember the
Oh, I thought it was TJ.
Oh yeah, it was TJ. That's right. It was TJ. And so, anyways, Pat got TJ. So she said, "Oh, he's always trying to run away from me, and when I'm trying to take care of him, you know." And so that's kind of when they first met, you know. And it was a while, and then he asked her out, and so they started going out together and everything, and that's how that started.
And then did he let you know that he was planning to propose, or did he come to you and say, "Hey, I'm engaged"?
Yeah, he told us, you know, yeah, I'm gonna ask Brenda to marry me.
Okay.
And we all liked Brenda so much, so we were all happy about it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So, any other stories? Any little stories that you pop up in your head while we were talking about Pat? Otherwise, anything you just want to say you think about him? You know, what do you think about him as a person or as a son?
Oh yeah, I just thought, you know, I just always thought he's been such a good son to me and everything, and I just love him, and still do love him so much, and he was just my little Patrick Michael.
Little Peter.
Peter Joe.